girls, this is Ms. McLean, Math Minutes with Mrs. McLean, and today we're going to be talking about different shapes and their attributes. And an attribute is just how you would describe their shapes. These are defining attributes. So I'm looking first at this rectangle, and I see that this rectangle has some defining attributes, and those are going to be what describes the shape. I see that we have 4 sides. 1, 2, 3, 4. I see that we have 5 vertices, or you may call these corners. 1, 2, 3, 4. I also see that this has 4 angles, and the angle is the size of this, where the 2 sides come together at the vertice or at the corner. And so when you get up in the higher grades, you will know that those angles have a degree. They have a measurement. But we call those angles, and it's where the 2 sides come together on this rectangle. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4 rectangles. So if I'm looking at the defining attributes of a hexagon. Now this is the regular hexagon, the one that you traditionally see. I can count those sides and vertices and angles as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I can count the angles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I can count the vertices. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. When I look at this shape, it looks like what we would know an hourglass to look like. It is also a hexagon, and it looks very different from this yellow hexagon here, because a hexagon has the attributes of 6 sides, 6 vertices, and 6 angles. We would just call this an irregular or a different hexagon. Okay, so we can count those vertices as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We can also count the sides. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we can count those vertices or those angles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now when I look at a shape that is a trapezoid, I can describe it by its defining attributes as well, by counting those sides, those angles, and the vertices. Now, I can look at this shape and I see 1, 2, 3, 4 sides, 1, 2, 3, 4 vertices, and 1, 2, 3, 4 angles. But it looks different than this. I'm also looking at this square, and the square has 4 vertices, 4 angles, and 4 sides. This rectangle we just counted has 4 angles, 4 vertices, 4 sides. And this rhombus, or this diamond, has 4 vertices, 4 angles, and 4 sides. I'm going to slide these out of my way. And I've got one more here, and this is a larger rhombus. This has 4 sides, 4 vertices, and 4 angles. Now when I look at these shapes with the attributes 4 sides, 4 angles, and 4 vertices, this group is called a quadrilateral. And the quadrilateral, the word quad meaning 4, the word quadrilateral means there's 4 sides in these shapes, 4 vertices in these shapes, and 4 angles in each of these shapes. So it classifies these shapes, even though they look differently, as a quadrilateral. Now, let's look at the difference in triangles. The defining attributes of a triangle is 3 sides, 1, 2, 3, 3 vertices, 1, 2, 3, and 3 angles. 1, 2, 3. And if you'll look at these different triangles, they're shaped differently. They don't look the same other than their color, but the coloring is not a defining attribute. The color is just a non-defining attribute because the color can change on any of these shapes. But we're wanting to look and focus on the sides, the vertices, and the angles. So we see that there are 3 of each of those on these triangles, even though they are shaped differently. Now, if we wanted to describe it, we could say this one has 3 equal sides. This one has a short side and 2 long sides. When you get into more of the degree of angles, you will talk about this one has a right angle, and these has 2 acute angles, and that'll come later in a different video. But the triangle, the attributes, the defining attributes, what describes it is its 3 sides, 3 angles, or 3 vertices. Okay, so now let's look at drawing some of these shapes. And I've brought out some grid paper for us today. And you can do this on grid paper or just regular notebook paper, but I've brought out this for us to use. And when we are asked, the standard asks us to identify the attributes and to draw the shape with its attributes. So if I'm drawing a triangle, if I've been asked to draw a 3-sided, 3-angled, 3 vertices shape, I'm going to draw some type of triangle. And with this triangle, I then can label or mark my sides, angles, and vertices. So by my sides, I can mark them this way, 1, 2, 3, and I can label them as a side. I also can circle my vertices. And I can make a little semicircle at the angles. And I can label those. Okay, so I want to do this with all of those shapes. I can draw a hexagon. And sometimes hexagons are hard to draw, but remember, it doesn't have to look like this. It just needs to have the attributes of 6 sides, 6 vertices, and 6 angles. Here again, we can mark our sides, and this helps us with our counting as well, so we don't get lost. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And boys and girls, if you're on iReady or if you're on a computer program practicing your shapes and you can't mark, just make sure you take your finger and go down each side and do the same thing with each vertices with a circle. And make sure you do that with the angle and you do that semicircle, and this is where 2 sides meet. And you'll have your circle, your semicircle on your angles there. Now, if I asked you to draw a quadrilateral, you could draw many different shapes. So you pick the quadrilateral. You have to remember what the defining attributes are. The defining attributes of a quadrilateral are 4-sided, 4 vertices, and 4 angles. So I am going to draw a rectangle. I'm going to mark my sides to make sure I've done correctly. Mark my vertices. And I'm also going to mark my angles. Now, if someone says, draw a different quadrilateral, I may choose to draw a trapezoid. 1, 2, 3, 4 sides. 1, 2, 3, 4 angles. 1, 2, 3, 4 vertices. Now in a different video, you're going to learn about the parallel and the intersecting lines in more detail. But for this video, we're just learning about those defining attributes. And we might do a quadrilateral that is a little oddly shaped. But as long as it has the defining attributes of a quadrilateral, it is a quadrilateral. Okay, so I hope this video has helped you at home. And remember, you do not need to have grid paper. You could do this just on a piece of scratch paper, notebook paper, printer paper, little pad paper, just whatever you have. And you can practice drawing these shapes. And when you're drawing them, make sure you are marking the sides, marking the angles, and the vertices. And you can play a game at home with mom or dad. Have them call some defining attributes out to you, and you can draw them based on the clues that they're given. Hope you have a great day.